What is up, everyone? Welcome to Reality Room Podcast with Paul,
And Dave.
telling you today about the beautiful episode of Celebrity Big Brother that aired tonight, where we were expecting something interesting to happen, but instead something not interesting happened. Dave, how do you explain this episode in like a few words?
A few words. I only need one. Disappointment. Just utter disappointment. Just why?
I mean, like I was watching the episode and I was expecting, someone from the four to leave. And when I found out it was a VIP veto, I was like, oh no, what if Marissa wins? Then Mark, James, or Meta would have to go. And I was like so worried, but it was all for naught because Meta made his decision. But we will get to it first. But before that, let's actually just run through the episode. Okay, so we just came from the nomination ceremony where Omarosa put Ross and Brandy on the block, with Ross being the target. Omarosa also made a Final Four deal with James and Mark and Meta, with Meta not knowing about the deal. Always a great idea. What were your thoughts at this point?
At this point, I thought it was interesting because you have Meta and James on the same alliance, which is just weird because they don't know they're on the same alliance. I thought it was fine because I'm like, you have a solid team to take out the four.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like their best choice. It wasn't like their first choice or whatever to work with one another. But it looked like they were doing it out of necessity.
Yeah, James and Omarosa were like the two that kind of needed to work together because they both had targets on them, and they were both. Omarosa is a very smart player, and you have James, who's a very strong player. So it seemed to work.
Yeah, it's definitely a good mix. I think I definitely agree with you there.
And James always comes with Mark, so
let's talk about Ari. Ari impressed me a lot this episode because she figured out that Mark and James had to have made a deal with Omarosa, because she said, "Oh, Mark went downstairs. Mark was in the HOH room."
Yeah, Mark was suspicious that he was going to go on the block, and then after that, whenever he didn't go on the block, Ari immediately knew that there was a Final Four with them.
Well, Final Three. They didn't know anything about Meta.
Sorry, yeah, because Mark and James are pretty much a pair.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, I almost forgot to look at the chat.
Good idea.
Yeah. Whoopsie, guys. By the way, if you guys want to talk in the chat, we will read it. And so if you have anything interesting to say, any questions for us, we will be there to read it. And so I wasn't looking at this point. I see Trop 13's in the chat. Back-to-back Mondays, people quit. But I don't think Meta can tell everyone he could not pump any more milk. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's... Thank you, Trop. And that's a very good point. I mean, 3 days ago, whatever it was, 3 days ago, Meta's girlfriend-to-be wife, or whatever they are, his one true love, said, Meta, don't quit.
Wife.
Huh?
His future wife. There we go.
His future wife said, Meta, don't quit. You got to keep going. And then 3 days later, he quits. I am infuriated.
And not only that, but he kept on saying how he's ready to play the game and how he's ready to take some people out and go all the way. And that doesn't happen at all. He looks like he's throwing the veto. He was the first one out of the HOH.
He said this. He said, if I win the veto, can I put myself on the block? Pissed. Anyway, back to the episode. So we have so Ari figures it out that they're in a Final Three, and that makes Ari's a very smart player. Like I've been saying for a long time, if Ari made it to the end, she could definitely win. I think over probably anyone in her alliance at this point. She basically ran her HOH and got no blood on her hands, and somehow Brandy and Ross are the ones on the block when Omarosa wins HOH. Like, hello, fantastic! You're doing great, Ari.
The smartest person in the house. You have Marissa saying that in the DR as well.
Mm-hmm. Very impressive. By the way, I'm drinking some bourbon and Coke just to mull myself over after this beautiful episode. Just calming myself down here. Anyway,
to celebrate.
Yeah, I'm just celebrating a great episode, guys. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
great episode.
Great episode. So yeah, Marissa's very impressed with Ari's gameplay, and it makes sense. So Marissa also tells, I think Brandy walks in as well, and Ari explains that. Oh, also their Final Four deal got blown up because Brandy thinks that someone in their alliance like slipped up. Omarosa, like I don't know why she would think that none of them would go on the block in the first place. Why did she think someone had to flip? It doesn't make any sense, really.
Like no one slipped up. It was just like, hey, this is so obvious.
Yeah, everyone knows you have a Final Four deal. They weren't born yesterday. Anyway, so then Brandy lets Omarosa know, and Omarosa's like taken aback. She's like, "Did this girl just confirm what I already knew?" Right to my face. And Marissa and Ross are just like, That's
what the fuck? Like, I feel like everyone in this episode just played a poor game. I mean, except for Ari, who just was like the highlight of this episode for being smart.
Yeah, Ari had arguably the best episode. And let's talk a little bit. Well, we'll jump to that later when we get back to James. At least we have 7 people who want to play still in the house. Well, that's what they say right now. We thought Keisha wanted to play, and then that Monday we learned that she wants to quit. So let's. I hope you're right, Drop 13. I hope you're right.
I think everyone in here wants to play.
The odds are stacked against like some players' favor though, so I don't know. It's all comes down to this HOH.
Yeah, this HOH is probably gonna be the most important one, I think.
But we'll get to that when we get to it. Okay, so they tell Ross about this potential Final Three. He's like, "Oh yeah, it makes sense. How come we didn't really think of that?" And then they play like this Twitter game, and I actually watched this live. It's in my latest live feeds video. It's one with James as the thumbnail. Maybe I'll link it down below later. Who knows? I mean, you guys already know what happened. So anyway, so they're in the backyard, and Brandy asks James in this Twitter game question, "Hey, are you working? Did you make a deal with Omarosa and Mark?" And James, I think he had a decent response. At least to me, it looked like it was a good response. Watching live, he said that I made a deal with everyone in this house. Basically,
yeah,
I thought it was all right.
That was pretty fair. I mean, because not for nothing, like that's what you're supposed to do.
I see Patty's in the chat. Hey, Patty, how you doing? What do you think about what Mark said?
What was it that I honestly don't even remember what Mark said at that point. He just said,
"He's like, thank you for telling me about an alliance I didn't know about."
Oh yeah. No, this is why I love Mark.
Yeah, he's good.
He's king floater in my opinion, at least from right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I'm probably rooting for Mark the most, Mark and James at this point, but that's its own story.
Yeah, probably.
Mark didn't disappoint me this episode too much. I wish he won the veto.
He disappointed me a little bit.
Yeah, with the veto, but outside of the veto, fine.
And the whole trying to make a Final Four with Ross and Marissa, which is stupid.
I think he knows it's BS too.
Well, maybe it's less stupid than we think it is. So actually, this episode kind of worked out in their favor. So maybe I'll get to that later. So then we get to James. Ross wants to talk to James and Mark, just to feel them out, because at this point Ross thinks he's going, and he thinks he's going because he is going. Ooh, because he's currently, I think, possibly he would have 4 votes on him, maybe 3, depending on what Ari would do. But I don't think Ari would vote Brandy out. So I think he would have had 4 votes if he was on the block before this conversation. So Ross talks to Mark and James, and he's basically like, Patty says Mark is a waste of space. Well, I mean, a vote's a vote,
I like Mark.
And he's comedic, he has his moments. And he's honest about his game. Very honest about his game.
That's something I appreciate, because he is playing a game. It's just more or less, like he says, he's like, I'm a floater. I'm going to stay that way. He's playing it to survive, and it's working.
Absolutely. All right, so Ross is talking to James and Mark. like, listen, like, can we like talk about maybe working together or whatever? And then James and Mark are like, listen, well, what's Marissa gonna say? Ross is like, oh yeah, we can probably get Marissa too. So then they cut to a conversation James has with Marissa, and Marissa's like, oh yeah, but I would love to work with you and I totally want to save Ross, but what about Ari? Like what about poor little Ari? Like, come on, like I really love Ari. I feel so bad leaving Ari alone. Like, you did the same shit to Shannon like 4 days ago. You feel bad about this now? It's a game. Like, come on.
But this whole thing, it's like she didn't feel bad to cut Shannon loose, but like you feel bad to leave Ari alone in the house. Like, how isn't she part of your alliance?
I don't know, man. Things are just so confusing. And James is just like, okay. Bizarre. So
he's just like the
really
one that.
final? Go ahead. Sorry.
James is like the person that we all relate to at that moment, like where he's like, this doesn't make any sense either.
You can tell that Marissa isn't really too keen on this Final Four deal, but I guess we don't really have to worry about that because their old Final Four deal is still in place. Hey ho!
My God.
All right. Let's see here. So yeah, Mark and James have a conversation with one another. They're basically like, they both basically clarify Marissa pulling a Penner from Survivor, not taking a deal into the Final Four. Right. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. Oh my God. Great point. I mean, if Penner, I don't want to talk about Survivor in a Big Brother video, but yeah, that could very well seal her fate in this game if the right person wins HOH this week, or the wrong person in her case. But we'll find out for sure soon enough.
I think tomorrow we should probably know who the new HOH is.
Yeah, well, I mean, we should know in a few hours.
True.
Looking forward to that. Okay, so
damn.
Yeah, so Mark and James talking. They both say they prefer to get Brandi out over Ross. And honestly, go ahead.
Their reasoning was pretty solid because they figured that it'd be better to take out Brandi and screw over Omarosa because Omarosa isn't going to be able to back them up with anything.
Mm-hmm.
They figured the best move would be to blindside her, and I can't disagree with that. Plus, James doesn't like Brandi, so it's fine.
Yeah, they had a good point because Brandi would go after James and Mark 100%, whereas I think Ross at that point would still go after Omarosa over James. So it made sense as like a temporary thing.
Yeah, I actually do agree with that.
Yeah. So you want to jump into this veto?
I think we could jump into the veto because I think that was like all that we need to know, like social wise, game wise.
Yeah, so there's like a pseudo. There's a pseudo sort of Final Four deal between Mark, Ross, James, and Mark.
Mark, Ross, James, and who? You said Mark twice.
Oh, I did. Mark, Ross, James, and Marissa. My bad. Omarosa messed up leaving James in. Well, maybe.
I don't know.
She messed up leaving a lot of people in.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
All right, let's talk about this veto. We were speculating all week. I constantly told people to vote for the Spotlight veto. Dave liked the VIP veto for his reasons, which I'm sure he'll explain to me right now if you want to. Go ahead.
Well, my reasoning was I was hopeful that James, Mark, or Omarosa would possibly win and would choose not to use it.
Right. You specifically said James when I asked you, and I said James might not even be playing in the veto, and he didn't. I watched the episode together with Dave, and we saw the people picked for the veto, and we didn't see James. And I was just like, "See, huh? What did I say?"
I told you, but still, the main reason why I wanted the VIP was because it had the option to not be used, and in the end, it worked just like a regular veto. So this whole veto twist was null and void in the end, all the way around.
Yeah, but it had more room for error than the Spotlight did. Patty says that she voted Spotlight. Thank you. I believe Spotlight should have won out, but I don't know. I don't know who voted VIP because I saw like a bunch of polls
I also
on Twitter
said
like a few days ago.
before that production will probably just do what they want to do.
Well, I saw another poll like on another website that had the VIP in the lead, and I was like, well, I guess we're screwed now. I don't know. It is what it is. But VIP won.
Plus, the other thing, just to like go over what my reasoning is, I just also wanted to have more chaos because if everyone through the VIP veto, if it was used multiple times, it would have just been like everyone's pairs and alliances would have just been ousted in front of everybody that no one could lie about it anymore.
But everyone knows about the pairs at this point.
I guess so, but still. I think
All right, Brandy, Marissa, Ross, James, Mark, and Omarosa.
I know. It still would have been fun to watch, but in the end, VIP was in play and it didn't do shit.
True.
It would have worked exactly like the Spotlight video in the end.
Still the biggest room for error, though.
True.
That Diamond would have been the worst.
100% agree with
Ross
that.
would have put. Well, Ross maybe would have put Meta up but then Ross could have maybe won Meta's vote at the end if he did that. Omarosa was the one that put Meta up, so she did what he wanted. So maybe he'll get her vote. I don't know. Anyway, this veto was interesting. I wasn't. They'd line the pieces up in a certain way, 9 pieces, 9 blocks, very much like a Survivor puzzle. Like to me, that's what it looked like.
Same.
Yeah. So they line it up. They had the camera on Omarosa, so it looked like Omarosa won. And then Julie says, "Congratulations, Ross." And I'm just like, "Wait, what?"
I was like, "Wait, what?"
Wait, what?
We're both like looking at each other, like freaking out, like, "What the hell? Like, what happened?"
It's like, oh, did they just make a mistake?
I think we had it on DVR and rewound it a little bit, just like
we did.
Make sure. Yeah.
It was just on Omarosa. We didn't see Ross win at all.
But yeah, so Ross won. Mark looked like he was winning in the beginning, then totally screwed up. We were so afraid of Marissa winning. That would be the worst case scenario.
God, yes. Trop13 says, I was so confused in the veto challenge when they showed Omarosa click the buzzer, but Ross won. I know, it was just so bizarre. I don't really understand.
I get it, though. It was just poor. They didn't switch the camera fast enough. That's really all it is.
Yeah, but they knew that he won, so like someone told Julie that Ross won. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It was interesting.
It was just the production error. Like that's the honest truth.
Live production error. They'll probably show it in the next episode, like what happened.
Exactly.
All right, so we get off of this veto, and Dave and I are both thinking, okay, so the end result has to be Ari and Brandy on the block. That makes the most sense with the VIP. So it's going to be Ross using it on himself, and then Omarosa is either going to replace with Ari or Marissa. And then if it's Marissa, Ross is going to use it again on Marissa, and Ari's going to go up. So it's going to be Ari and Marissa, Ari and Brandy, no matter what.
See, what I was hoping for was to get this badass moment that never happened, where I wanted. We all knew that Ross was going to take himself off. I wanted to see Ross take himself off, then put Ari on the block, but Omarosa actually say, if you take anybody else off, Marissa's going up next. I wish that badass moment would have happened, but didn't.
That would have been cool. Would have been very cool. It looked like Mark just put all the pieces up without doing the puzzle. Now, I have a theory about this. I think the front side and the back side, they were kind of like mix matched, basically. So the front and the back had to match. So I think the front of his side matched and the back didn't. And I think you had to like turn it around. Basically, it was probably the same on both sides of the front and back, both having like different things on the back. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying because we only saw we saw whatever side. Yeah, we saw the back side. Whatever side they were looking at, we couldn't see. So,
right. So
I get what you mean. So it seemed like both sides had to align.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. Unfortunately,
we get to the end of this commercial break after we're all speculating about, hey, who's gonna go home? Ross uses the veto on himself. Omarosa, in an interesting move, puts Meta on the block. Now, I have a theory on why she did this. Why she's letting Meta World Peace
vote.
go.
There's the theory. Jury vote.
That's one reason. The first reason is she told everyone in the house, I think this was a mistake on her part, she told everyone in the house, if Meta wants to go, I will send him home. Her mistake. Second reason, jury vote. She's the one that sends him home. Good on her. So she now has 4 jury votes. She has every jury vote.
Well, that's if Ross. I mean, that's if Meta understands that the person that you vote for last is not the person you're evicting. It's the person you want to win. I don't know.
I'm sure someone will explain it to him during finale.
I feel like he's the person who would show the key as he's putting it in.
Please, Meta, please do it. So yeah, so now I think we hold the right to start complaining for a couple of minutes about Meta World Peace. So last week we had Keisha. She had her breast milk thing, which is like, okay, I can kind of understand. I'm still upset about it.
You have a legit medical reason, and your kids come first. You're showing the world. I mean, you're being honest. I'm a parent. This is my priority. I can understand that. Does it suck game-wise? 100%. But it's understandable. You can't fault her too much, in my opinion, compared to Meta anyway.
Omarosa probably did it for the jury vote, but Meta probably will vote Shannon in the end because he is rooting for her. Absolutely. Go Shannon.
Oh my God.
I think Meta is right to support Shannon.
I just want to say that again. What Meta? He was rooting for Shannon, but he kept on saying for like the entire game, if I get HOH, I'm putting up James and Shannon. And then, while we're ranting about, like, this is the part of the video where we're just going to rant about Meta. I mean, I love the duck scene because it was funny. And, like, he's got his funny moments that are just funny to watch. But the problem is, like, Meta won. Meta won the game that he was playing, which was to go home. Meanwhile, he had, like, 5-6 days left. The other thing with Meta, which I thought was the best part about this, was I miss my family, my kids, and their moms. Plural.
Yeah, and their moms and my future wife. Yep. Fun stuff with Meta. Fun stuff.
So many questions.
Here's my opinion on how this week should have gone if Meta wanted to go. So Ross wins the veto. He does the thing that Dave and I talked about doing before. Ross takes himself off. Ari and Brandy on the block, and either Ari or Brandy leave, and then Ross, and then not Ross, and then Meta just walks out. That is my definition of what should have happened this episode. Everyone's all like, "Oh, we did the right thing with Meta voting him out." No. If you gotta quit, quit. Don't waste someone's HOH. That's bull. I mean, it happened with Ross a few weeks ago. That was bull. Now it's going to happen to Omarosa. No, that's bull.
You literally he had literally like 5-6 days left.
Yeah, just walk out. During the Ross HOH, it should have backdoored Shannon, and then Keisha should have walked out. That's what should have happened. And the same thing this week. Meta, Ari or Brandy should have been going home, and Meta should have walked out. Like, what's the difference? Like, they're doing a finale with 5 people. Like they need to save time.
Yeah, so pretty much, like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, after this, like, that's pretty much the end of the episode. It was unanimous. Everyone voted to evict Meta. Meta left, saying how much he loves all of them and he's gonna miss them, but just wants to be with his family.
Should have just walked out.
Then to further go on with what's coming up next is Friday is a double eviction, finally. And apparently on Sunday, there's going to be 3 people evicted from the house at once. So we don't know what the point of Saturday's episode is.
Yeah, there's an episode on Saturday, which I have an opinion on. They do this every single season. They do like a Saturday or like a Friday. Typically, it's a Friday episode because Friday is an actual episode, typical weekly episode during Celebrity Big Brother. They're doing it on Saturday this time. So it's just going to be a bunch of clips during the season. I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the final 5 talking amongst each other about the season.
Maybe we'll get Zingbot.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Oh, they still have to do Zingbot. I hope that's this week.
Maybe
Zingbot will call James Joshua. That'll be fun.
Will be.
Yeah, I don't really get the Twitter joke, but I'm sure if someone knows why they call James Joshua on Twitter, can you let me know? Because I'm totally out of the loop here.
Maybe that was his name on Big Time Rush. I'm really not familiar with Big Time Rush. What was his name? Actually, James Mazel on Big Time Rush.
BTR, baby.
It was?
No, his name was James.
I
have no idea. Honestly, let me know down below in the chat.
Well, if anyone's watching Big Time Rush, I guess you could criticize me in the comment section later on for not knowing.
BTR fans are going to be pissed.
I know.
All right. Anyway, let's talk about speculation. What's going to happen? Someone in the 4 alliance is going to win. By 4, I mean Brandy, Ari, and Marissa and Ross, and they're going to ruin the game for everybody.
Sounds about right.
They're going to send James or Omarosa home.
Yep, pretty much. Or actually, we could have double eviction on Friday where James and Omarosa both just go home.
Or even better, James wins HOH and Ross convinces him to send Omarosa home. Wow, wouldn't that be a great week? Great episode. You can tell I'm pessimistic about this season only because of what's happening so far. I hope James wins HOH and targets like either Ari or Brandy or Ross and Marissa, or one of the 4, and I hope one of them goes home. Like that's my honest to God hope, because I don't want a final 4. I don't want a final
of one alliance.
Yeah, I don't want an alliance to make it to the end. That's boring. We all been there, done that. Season 17, it kind of happened there. Season 16 basically happened there. Like I'm tired of alliances.
19 that happened.
Yeah. Well, 19. Paul was in alliance with everybody, so
that's my point.
All right, so I guess we'll end it there. You have any final words, Dave?
No. All I have to say is, someone please say something optimistic and hope that happens, because this is such a disappointment. Like my issue with this is I hope the problems with this cast doesn't prevent Celebrity Big Brother from happening again later down the line, because I like the concept of having people who are already established. Like, they're not necessarily doing it for the money. Maybe they are mostly doing it to like plug their stuff and like try to win, is what I'm assuming. But I also enjoy a season with no showmances, and again, people who are established. And I think it makes works. I think this works, but like I think the problem was like just this alliance, and Keisha and Meta wanting to go home was ridiculous.
It's just Keisha and Meta wanting to go home.
But that screwed up the whole game. Like, a game this short, that was enough to just ruin it. And again, I hope we get another Celebrity Big Brother, and I hope it's significantly better.
Yeah, I hope we get another one and hope it's done. Like, this wasn't production's fault. This was the cast's fault.
I agree with that. I think Keisha's... I think a new question though that should be, whenever anyone gets to go on the show, are you breastfeeding?
Or just be like production. When they're doing casting, they should just flat out say, "Listen, if you plan on quitting at any point, I mean, I don't even know how they can threaten them. They can't really threaten them, but just say, listen, it's just going to look really bad on you if you quit."
They don't care.
I hope we have another Celebrity Big Brother, because this season was so much better than the past seasons. In some ways, it was. I liked the episode breakdown. They did do a good job of making it breaking down the weeks, where 2 evictions a week kind of made sense. Like, I'm glad they didn't rush it, except for the finale. But is what it is.
What it is. I mean, it's also worth noting though, with the finale night having 3 people evicted, the reason for that is there were only supposed to be 10 celebrities. Omarosa really truly was a last minute cast member. Like, that wasn't really their plan. Like, I was watching like an interview. I think it was Julie Chen with Colbert, and she ended up saying that like when they found out that they were going to bring Omarosa, they just kind of like told production, just get an extra bed, because it was so close to when the show was going to start.
Right. Well, I mean,
she didn't even have, even the videos that they put on Facebook, Omarosa didn't even have one. It was just a last minute casting decision.
It worked out with Omarosa though. She's still there now, but we'll see what happens with the HOH this week.
Yep.
I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, enjoy our content, what we produce, and also if you disliked this episode as much as we did, give this video a thumbs up. Maybe share it on your social media platforms. Be a huge boon for us.
Yeah, do what the internet does. Share things that you want to complain about, like this episode.
Right. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you were here because you saw my tweet saying I was complaining about the episode.
Pretty much.
Sips on bourbon. Anyway, I want to give a shout out. Right. If you support us, check out our Patreon down below. If you donate $3 or more a month, we will personally shout you out at the end of every single one of our videos. And speaking of shout outs, we can give a shout out to Patty. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for supporting our channel, everything that we do. We love you. And I guess we'll call it there. We'll see you guys on Wednesday when we do both the Celebrity Big Brother episode, which I think Dave will probably do on his own since Chris and I have class.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And hopefully the Celebrity Big Brother episode will be much better. But more importantly, going on Wednesday, the season finale of The Amazing Race.
That's right. I'm excited about that Final Four, so I'm hoping for some good stuff.
So am I.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of looking forward to it a little bit more than Big Brother, which is not usually how my night goes.
Right, and I believe the following week, Survivor is going to be starting. So
I think you're right.
So next Wednesday, guys, if you're excited for Survivor, we'll be doing Survivor next Wednesday, covering its premiere. If you guys want to check out our cast analysis, I guess I'll put it below too. Why not? It's not there right now, but it will be there by the time you're watching this video. Not live, but you know what I mean. Okay, but until next time, guys, peace.